So today we'll cover something from chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 4. So chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita is titled Transcendental Knowledge. So this particular verse we'll study a little deep and try to see how we can learn some lessons. So you can repeat after me the verse Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtam Gunakarma Vibhagashaha Tasya Kartaram Apimam Vidya Akartaram Avyayam. Anyone want to read translation? You want to read?
According to three modes of material and the work associated with them, the four divisions of human society are created by me. And although I am the creator of this system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable.
So there are multiple concepts here. Modes of nature, we'll learn again. We'll learn properly in chapter 14. For now, just park that concept. Basically, there are four divisions of human society created by me. So this is Varnashrama system that Lord is referring here. So Lord Krishna is stating that he has created four divisions of human society, and although I am the creator of the system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, but unchangeable. We'll understand this a little more. But the idea is, so this division is based on guna and karma. Guna is, what is guna? Qualities, yeah, inner qualities. Karma is activities, correct, yeah, activities. So guna and karma vibhagasha. So these two determine, based on that, the Varnashrama system was given. So let's understand a little, conceptually first. So human nature means the personality that we are, right? Broadly, there are many theories on what is the human nature defined by primarily. So some people say it is primarily inborn, means we are born with certain qualities and we continue to maintain that. And there are many schools of thought, they are cultivated in the course of lifetime. Inborn means it's like a seed. Suppose from a mango seed, only mango comes. From a banana seed, only banana comes. So it just comes from that. Cultivated means you're like a moldable soil, which can be molded into various shapes. Right? What do you all think is human nature? So human nature, again, you can, in the category, you can consider various things. Morality, right? And abilities of an individual. Are they all completely inborn or they are cultivated? Morality of an individual, is it all inborn or is it all cultivated? Let's not focus on morality aspect. We'll park that for some time. We are all here to discover what am I here for, because this is Karma Yoga chapter. So let's explore that part. So our abilities in this world, are they completely inborn or are they all cultivated? What do you all think? It's a combination. Yes, it's both, right? It's not just inborn. Inborn means you are born with certain inclinations for certain aspects. So somebody is naturally good at mathematics or naturally good at art. Naturally, their mind goes to that, right? Without asking for anything, without looking for any reward. It just naturally flows. Cultivated means it may not be there as your natural interest, but for example, all of us study certain subjects. Are we all naturally interested in all the subjects? But we develop some interest. For example, social may not be your interest, but you have developed, over a period of time. So both are possible. So this is like seed. This is like, soil which can be molded, moldable soil. So both are possible. And this part, inborn, is primarily coming from what we discussed in the past sessions. Past karma, yeah. So past karma determines both our external situations our past karma determines our external situations as well as internal situation, right? Internal situations, we discussed two things. Yeah. Internal situations are, two types we discussed, right? Our, vritti and vasanas. Vritti are positive inclinations, like positive, abilities. Vasanas are negative things within of us, like we could have developed lust, greed, anger, whatever the past. So both of these determine, our inner situation. Like, we discussed how, for example, there is a situation like an accident that is due for as part of your past karma. But if you are a careful driver, you maintain your car well, you drive carefully, follow all the rules, you can avoid the situation. How the past karma is coming to you is again going to be determined by your actions, how you perform in this life, right? So past karma, it's not like deterministic, 100%, oh, you're going to hit by an accident and lose your limbs. So that could be your situation, but how you act, right? If you drive carefully and you can avoid the situations, right? So I mean, that is past discussion we did. So the inborn qualities, yes, that is important. Um, yeah, but it's not the only factor, right? So human nature, our abilities are both inborn as well as cultivated. And as per this particular chapter 4, Bhagavad Gita, you want to get chair here? Or here there is a chair. Yeah. Yeah. So as per Bhagavad Gita, our human nature, or let's put it, we are focused on only ability part of it. So human abilities are primarily categorized into acronym TEAM. T for thinkers or teachers, whatever you call. And entrepreneurs. AM, TEAM, and M is for managers, A is for artists. Thinkers are in the direct Sanskrit word, Brahmanas. Yeah. Brahmana, now don't take it as the caste system Brahmana. Just Brahmana, Brahma Janati iti Brahmana means they're always in the domain of thinking, right? Brahma Janati iti Brahmana means one who is always inquiring about absolute truth. Thinkers or teachers. They also thrive in teaching because they have knowledge, they want to teach, right? So that is thinkers. And then entrepreneurs is Vaishyas. What do? They're in the domain of managing resources, right? I mean, that's a natural inclination. Some people are naturally inclined for that. So this is, the inborn quality. So these are all we are discussing. They are the inborn qualities, right? Inborn, there is inclination for it. Doesn't mean that nobody can cultivate these qualities, but they're also inborn, right? So Vaishyas means in the domain of resources, resource management. Managers are the ones who manage people primarily, right? They thrive in the domain of people, leaders. So this is what? Kshatriya, yeah. They so they are in the and then artists. They are in a specific domain. They have extensive knowledge, for example, right? Somebody is an artist and in a specific way he can art. So they are very tied to a specific thing. So this is, the specific resource. They're experts at it. So this is called Sudra. And this kind of division exists even within human body. For example, you have a head, which is like Brahmana. You use that for thinking. And then you have, whenever somebody hits you, what do? You try to defend yourself. What do you use for that? Hands, right? So hands are like, no, Kshatriya, because they are your defense. And then belly is like Vaishya. Vaishya are the enterprises. Like that's what sustains the entire system, right? So business transaction is like that. So people make money out of it, and then they sustain the world. And then legs are like Shudras. They are important. So all these are equally important. They're all very important. Not equally important, but they're all important. You can sustain your life without legs, but not without head, right? So this kind of division is natural that exists. People are also naturally inclined in these various domains. Somebody is enterprising, naturally likes to be in the domain of business. Yeah, you have a question?
How do you differentiate like first one is like thinkers and entrepreneur? So you mean like without thinking, like entrepreneur can be also successful?
No, thinking is required, but that thinking is completely thinking domain. They don't want to. The Brahmanas don't want to enterprise. They're not happy there, right? It's like that. So everything requires thinking. Okay, but Brahmanas specifically, they are in the their focus. They thrive in that. For enterprisers, they want to execute. They think because they want to execute, but their goal is actually managing the resources. Could be business one or business two. Their goal is making money. What is driving internally? The driving force is what we are defining.
First one, what their goal, like first thinker, like, what
Yeah.
their goal?
Their goal is, ultimate goal is absolute truth, but knowledge is their goal. Their goal is knowledge. For enterprises, their goal is making money, right? Managers, their goal is to have control. They like control. Managers, control over people. Yeah. And then artists, they like to work. They're happy working. That's it. That's Sudras. So this is natural inclination. This is how the heart is inclined, right? Now, the real goal of our discussion is, where do I fit? Especially in the past. There was this strict varnashrama. Where there are these brahmanas, kshatriyas. So society was divided into these 4 categories, and they were happy cooperating with each other. Again, over a period of time, what happened? The brahmanas' children became brahmanas, whether they are inclined qualitatively or not. So that was fossilized into a kind of caste system, right? So caste system is a deviation of varnashrama, where a brahmana would not let a sudra become a brahmana, right? So that's it's a deviation of the original varnashrama, right? And especially in Kali Yuga, the problem is everybody, especially parents, want the children to, especially in India, right? They want the children to become engineers, for example, engineers or doctors, because they only look from the prestige or whatever they think is good. It doesn't matter what inclination. But if one's inclination is not there, his heart is not there, he's more like an artist, but he's put into this, right? Or he's more like a thinker. Instead of becoming a professor, he became an engineer, for example. They won't really, thrive in that domain. Yeah. So how do we know where we really fit, right? So that we'll discuss now. How do we? So this particular shloka that talked about 2 things. One is guna and karma. Right? So these 2 are the aspects that we'll look at. So. Mhm.
So you also said these are inborn, but can these be
Cultivated? Yes, they can be cultivated too. Yeah. So it's a combination of both, ideally, and it's not just even if it is inborn, it doesn't come naturally. You have to work hard to extract it. For example, Arjuna was naturally an inclined to archery. That inclination is there, but he had to work hard day and night. Sometimes he would stay whole night to practice Dhanurveda. Right? So inclination is there, but at the same time you have to put in effort. Right? So that's why I'm just getting to that, right? So there is inner comfort. This is inclination, right? You may be comfortable hearing some music, right? Beautiful music, but you may not be skilled at it, right? There may be n things that you may like to do. Naturally, you are inclined for it. So this is like inner comfort. You are comfortable with it. You may be good at teaching math, or you may be good at art, right? So this is your natural inclination, but then you are skilled, right? So this is, guna, karma. Karma means activity. You have developed over a period of time the skill to do it, right? So this is inner comfort. This is external competence. Note down this. can we do well a particular karma if you don't have inner comfort? We can do, but we may not be like, the problem is we may not excel in that area. Every area to become an expert, you really need to push the limits. That's how you become an expert in an area. That kind of push won't come for you because you are not naturally inclined for it. Naturally, if you go observe yourself, this we are trying to now in the, self-observation is what we're discussing the topic. So this is all for our own observation, So where my qualities are, that's my inner comfort. Where I'm externally competent, that's my, karma, right? So if by chance, I'm just talking the principle here, we'll see how we can get, discover that. So if you find something in a combination of these two, right? Then that's a great discovery. Because you are both innately comfortable and externally competent. If that is something that you can dovetail in the service of Krishna, then you can use that to achieve highest perfection. Suppose you have a desire to write. Now use that in the domain of achieving the perfection. Then that's a great discovery. So our life journey is about discovery, actually. This discovering where we are comfortable and develop competence in that. Ideally, that is how Varnashrama was originally designed. In fact, in the past, the teachers would observe whether the student was actually innately comfortable with it. There was a story of a teacher to whom a boy comes to learn lessons. And the teacher asks a question. And that training was in Brahmanical training. The teacher is training, in the Vedas. The teacher asks the boy, "Who is your father?" And the boy says, "I'll go and check with," because at home there is no father. He will go and ask his mother, and his mother says, "I'm a keep, and then I don't have a specific. I don't remember, who you are born of." And the next day, the boy comes and tells the same to the father, teacher. Says, "I don't know who my father is." Who my father is. Then the teacher says, "Yes, you are a Brahmana because you have the qualities of a Brahmana. You're speaking truth." Right? So Satyam, Saucham. So those are qualities of a Brahmana. So immediately he accepted him, whether irrespective of his caste or whatever, he accepted him as a student. So that is how the teacher would discover the qualities. And even Arjuna was, so when the teacher discovers our qualities, good qualities, where we are really good, innately comfortable and externally competent, and develops, that good teacher student combination will flourish, and the student really excels in the areas, right? So now the question is, how do we discover, how do we identify what am I meant in this world for? How to identify what am I good at? This is a question for all of us. Any thoughts? Yeah. Yes, that also matters. Qualities that are coming from past matter. Yeah. Our abilities, our morality, all of that is coming from our prarabdha. Doesn't mean that we cannot change. We can change, improve in this life, especially when you do the Harinam that you are doing, like chanting, that transforms like anything. Yeah. So how do we identify where my inclinations are, right? Especially in Kali Yuga, it is rare for somebody to know where they really are, what their real comfort is and where they're skilled at. Very rarely do we meet a person who in their childhood said, I want to be this. And ultimately, at the end of, say, 30 or 25 years, they realize that specific profession, right? Did you ever meet a person like that?
Is it related to material identity or like spiritual identity?
Anything. I'm just giving example of material identity because that is more relatable. But we all are use our material abilities only within the material body to begin with. And ultimately, we'll get there. Transcend. We have to use these abilities in the service of God to realize the highest perfection. This is journey, but we start with our abilities first, and we can focus on material abilities for now. Yeah. So, how do we identify where our comfort is, right? So this is by, if you observe carefully, where your mind goes naturally when you have nothing to think of. Okay, again, we have vasanas. There are, specific desires that are coming from the past. I'm not talking about vasanas, but there are things that you want to do. Maybe somebody want to do art. Where do we go naturally? Where naturally mind goes. Just consciously observe where my mind goes. Some people are entrepreneurial, whether they might be software engineer, but the mind is always entrepreneurial, right? So it's like that. So where our mind goes when you have nothing to think of, where is your comfort, right? So that is one area. The other way to find is, what do you do when there is no external reward for it? Where you are comfortable doing, what you do without expecting any external reward. Right? So these two are the ways to determine. This is self-observation. We have to observe our nature, our abilities, where my mind goes naturally. And in a way, like when I learned about the way the college entry system in the West is designed, where you have to write a SOP. Actually, they're asking for this. Where is your mind naturally? Write your purpose. In that process, they expect you to discover where you are comfortable. You see, actually, it is a proper system, right? At least here in India, they just go engineering entrance. That's it. There is no other choice. Most of the people just do what their parents say, right? But actually, the statement of purpose that people write for college entrance is meant as a place for to look in yourself and discover where your interest is, where you are comfortable, where you like to, and then discovering is one part. Like I said, there may be n number of things you may be interested. You may be interested in psychology, may be interested in medical, or maybe interested in math. But how do you know whether you are comfortable, whether you are competent? Ultimately, you need to know. And that is where his internship comes. Internship, people try to explore various avenues where they can spend their time when they have free time. The second part, you spend your time in various domains to understand whether you are competent and you are comfortable in that area, right? Without doing that exploration. So first is self-retrospect or self-discovery. Second is explore. The idea of exploration is internship. Means try to fit yourself into various domains and see whether you are really competent in that, right? Yeah, so and these activities when you do, they're whether you gain a lot of outside, they're intrinsically rewarding, means you feel satisfied, right? So the main question is what you do should be comforting to you and it should be giving you inner comfort, inner satisfaction. Within the domain of, say, practice of bhakti, there are many things. You can be a teacher, you can be a volunteer to serve. You may, if you want to serve people, that opportunity is there. And then if you are inclined to music, for example, there is also an opportunity for it. So you can focus on a specific domain, like say my spiritual growth, and explore, discover where your comforts are, and because ultimately you want to focus on one or two areas specifically and grow in that area and contribute to the society at large in a better way, right? So discover your inner comfort and develop competency in that. Some people
Babuji, I have a question.
Yes, Prabhakar.
So like,
Loud.
at least in my life, I've seen that I have had a lot of interests, and then I'll like explore that, and then I like it, and then after a while, after like a year or two, I'll get like bored, and then that won't provide me as much happiness as before. And then I move on to the next, and then I move on to the next, and it's like everything gives me happiness whenever I pursue, and then like I get bored. So is it even like worth pursuing some higher goal, like finding something which I'm good at, or like should I just keep doing like whatever life throws at me?
Yeah, so Prabhakar is asking, in my life, I have been exploring a lot. I've been trying various things over a period of time. And I have tried many, many things for a short time, and then I left it because that particular thing is not giving me satisfaction, and then I move on to the next. And then I move on to the next, move on to the next. So I've been doing this. Should I continue doing this? Or, how do I? So again, that happens with everyone. We keep trying many, many things. But at some point, you would discover something that would last your lifetime. And actually, if we learn a little more, I think I'm covering that. So that will determine where you want to really, the purpose of all of this. So the problem is, let me answer that directly. Whatever we do, it's too much. Whatever contributions we give to the world, they are never satisfying 100%. We always think that I'm still falling short of, and I could have given something better, because that is how human nature is, right? We are never